quick. Watch this, guys. Now, this is when Canada tripped herself, and Caitlin Clark was literally bagging back, giving her room to go because she was already at what? 4 fouls or something like that. 4 fouls. Now what?
Watch that moment again. Caitlin Clark isn't just asking for a challenge. She's pointing at the screen, explaining what happened, practically begging her coach to use the review. And Stephanie White, she's not even looking at her. That 30-second exchange tells you everything you need to know about what's really happening in Indiana right now, because this wasn't a one-time thing. This has been the pattern all season long.
Where Stephanie White wasted a challenge on Sophie Cunningham. To me, her not using any challenges for Caitlin Clark completely is the reason why they lost this game. Caitlin Clark did not play majority of the fourth quarter. She came in, it was 3 minutes and 28 seconds left. She got in foul trouble early. I think she had 3 fouls going into the third quarter. So that there was a telltale sign that, maybe I need to keep a challenge because they clearly...
The Fever just lost to the Atlanta Dream, snapping a 4-game winning streak. But here's what nobody's talking about in the box score. Caitlin Clark sat for most of the fourth quarter. 3 minutes and 28 seconds left in the game when she finally came back in. Why? Foul trouble. She picked up her 3rd foul going into the third quarter, got her 4th on a phantom call in the second half, and suddenly Indiana's best player is watching from the bench while the game slips away. Now, here's the part that should make every Fever fan furious. Stephanie White had a challenge. She could have reviewed any of those questionable calls. Instead, she used it on Sophie Cunningham, not Caitlin Clark. Sophie Cunningham
answers the question earlier about that challenge that you asked, because I just wasn't a fan of it at that time for a play that to us at the time. I mean, think about how long that review went. Yeah, you know, it wasn't cut and dry, and now you've got one of your best players sitting on the bench with 5 personals.
Even the announcers had to call out.
The broadcast announcers couldn't believe it either. They're literally calling out the head coach during the game for not challenging obvious bad calls against the franchise player. When was the last time you heard announcers openly questioning coaching decisions in real time? That doesn't happen unless it's so egregious they can't ignore it. And look at the timing, 52 seconds left in the first half. Caitlin already has 3 fouls, and Alicia Gray trips over her own feet. No contact. Caitlin's running back on defense, nowhere near her. The whistle blows anyway. 4th foul, that's the moment you use your challenge. That's the obvious play. Except Stephanie White had already wasted it earlier on a play so inconsequential that even the review itself was quick and obvious.
Starting during her last years in Iowa, Caitlin Clark seemed destined to follow a similar journey to icon status. Her start to her WNBA career has already been record-setting. The only thing she was lacking, though, was that long-awaited signature shoe. Well, guess what? It dropped today. Check out Nike's Caitlin 1. And you see those stacked swooshes over there? You see how they look like C's? Well, Nike says they were designed to mimic her initials, which you see up on the tongue. And then even the nodes on the outside also look like C's. Now, Clark becomes the 5th active WNBA player with her.
Sports Illustrated just published an article specifically about this. Robin Lundberg wrote that coaching Caitlin Clark comes with challenges, and Stephanie White can't hold on to them. That's not some random blogger. That's a major sports publication calling out a WNBA coach by name for refusing to protect her star player. The article breaks down multiple instances this season where White had opportunities to challenge questionable fouls against Clark and simply chose not to. Not once or twice, multiple times across multiple games. This is a documented pattern now.
I'll be able to buy them until October. Michael Jordan.
So that was ESPN letting us know that Caitlin Clark is one of them ones. Now, this is a controversial person right here. A lot of people don't like him. Even me, I don't really care for him, but he do make good articles for Sports Illustrated. That is Robin Lundberg. So Robin Lundberg is getting off the bandwagon, and he wrote an article today. He says, coaching Caitlin Clark's come with challenges. Stephanie White can't hold to them. Indiana Fever coach Stephanie White could stand to use some of her challenges on the calls made against who? Caitlin Clark. He goes on to say, coach.
Think about what this means strategically. Every team in the WNBA knows Caitlin gets called for phantom fouls. The refs have shown all season that they'll whistle her for minimal contact while letting opponents hack her on drives. It's been the most consistent storyline of her rookie year, so, if you're coaching the Fever, you know going into every game that you'll probably need to challenge at least one bogus foul call against your point guard. Which means you save your challenge for exactly that situation. You don't blow it in the first quarter on a random play involving a role player. You protect your franchise cornerstone. That's coaching 101, except Stephanie White keeps doing the opposite.
They pulled up for y'all. Was this
Still goes against Caitlin Clark. What are these refs even watching right now?
Look, yep.
Canada slips and hits the floor, but the whistle.
So that was this play right here. Now, Caitlin Clark is storming. Telling Stephanie, she's yelling. She's definitely yelling at Stephanie and them to challenge the play. To me, based on the evidence, based on everything that has happened this season, by them not challenging Caitlin plays.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Go back through the entire season. Try to find one instance where Stephanie White used a coach's challenge specifically to overturn a foul called against Caitlin Clark. Just one. You won't find it. Not once has she challenged a call to protect her star player from foul trouble. Meanwhile, Caitlin's asking for reviews constantly. The footage exists. She's walking over to the bench, pointing at replays, explaining what happened, and she's getting ignored. Not sometimes, every single time.
When it comes to Clark, specifically not using her coach's challenges on fouls called against the star point guard. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Stephanie White has ever used a challenge on one of Caitlin Clark's challenges this entire season. I don't think she used one specifically for a Caitlin foul. Goes on to say, this stood out in the team's loss against Atlanta Dream. One that saw Caitlin Clark have to sit for a stretch in the fourth quarter due to foul trouble. There was a clear instance toward the end of the first half where White should have challenged a foul against Caitlin Clark with 52 seconds left. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken...
Now, let's talk about what happened after that Alicia Gray play. Caitlin knew immediately it was a bad call. She saw Gray trip over her own feet. So, she goes straight to Stephanie White and asks for the challenge. Watch the clip again and pay attention to White's body language. She's not even considering it. She's already moved on. The conversation is over before it starts. But here's what Caitlin didn't know in that moment. Stephanie had already used the challenge. She'd burned it earlier on the Sophie Cunningham play, a review that took forever and was completely obvious even before the refs looked at it. So, when Caitlin's asking for help, there's nothing left to give. The challenge is gone, wasted.
Fighting back towards Caitlin by not challenging her plays, putting her in bad situations, taking her on the ball, off the ball, using Kelsey Mitchell, running it with Kelsey Mitchell. And that could be a strong reason as to why they're not challenging the plays, man. There's no other reason. Caitlin Clark wants out of Indy, and the Indy front office knows it. I am 100% convinced. You can't sit up here and tell me that if your star player on any level of sports, and you got a chance to challenge a play, and you don't challenge that play against the best player on your team, you don't like the best player on your team, and you want them in foul trouble. You don't want them in the game. That's the only answer. Stephanie White, the front office, don't want Caitlin in the game because Caitlin don't want to be in Indiana. That's the only explanation I could think of. Get down in the comment section right now. Let me know y'all thoughts about this. Keep them bells on, and until next time, man, shake the...
So, we need to ask the uncomfortable question. Why? Why does a head coach consistently refuse to protect her best player? Why does she waste challenges on inconsequential plays and then have nothing left when her franchise cornerstone picks up phantom fouls? Why does this keep happening game after game after game? There are really only two possible explanations here. Either Stephanie White is genuinely a poor in-game coach who doesn't understand challenge management and game theory, or something else is going on, something deeper, something that has nothing to do with basketball strategy. Let's consider the first option. Maybe she's just not good at this. Her challenge usage has been questionable all season. Her rotations don't always make sense. She's made several head-scratching decisions that have cost Indiana winnable games. The evidence supports this theory. Stephanie White might simply be in over her head as a WNBA coach, but that doesn't fully explain the pattern. Because even bad coaches protect their stars. Even struggling coaches understand that you can't let your franchise player sit in foul trouble over phantom calls. That's not advanced strategy, that's basic common sense. Which brings us to the second possibility. What if the Fever organization knows something we don't? What if they know Caitlin Clark doesn't want to be in Indiana long-term? What if contract extension talks have already gone sideways? What if the front office has decided that if she's not committed to the franchise, they're not going to bend over backwards to protect her? Think about the business side of this. Caitlin's on a rookie contract right now. She can't leave yet. But eventually, she'll have options. And if she's already told the organization she wants out, if she's already made it clear that Indiana isn't her long-term home, then suddenly all these decisions make a lot more sense. The Fever might be sending a message. You want to leave? Fine. But while you're here, you're going to play by our rules. You're not going to get special treatment. You're not going to get challenges saved for you. You're going to sit when you're in foul trouble, just like everyone else. We're not building around someone who doesn't want to be here. Now, I don't have inside information confirming this. I'm not reporting that Caitlin has demanded a trade or refused an extension. But the pattern of behavior from the coaching staff and front office suggests something is broken behind the scenes. Because what we're seeing doesn't make sense otherwise. Look at how they're using her on offense. Taking the ball out of her hands more. Running sets through Kelsey Mitchell instead. Caitlin's usage rate has dropped in recent games, even though she's clearly their most talented player. That's not a basketball decision. That's a political decision. And the challenge situation is the most visible example of this dynamic. Every game, Caitlin gets hit with questionable fouls. Every game, she asks for reviews. Every game, Stephanie White says no at some point. That stops being coincidence and starts being policy. The really sad part is that this hurts everyone. It hurts Caitlin, obviously. She's trying to win games and getting no support from her own coaching staff. It hurts the Fever because they're losing winnable games over coaching mistakes. It hurts the fans who paid to see their franchise player and instead watch her sit on the bench in foul trouble during crunch time. And it hurts the WNBA because the league's biggest star and most marketable player is being mismanaged by an organization that either doesn't know what they're doing or doesn't care. Either way, it's a disaster, so, here's my question for you. If you're Caitlin Clark, how do you handle this? Do you keep asking for challenges, knowing they'll never come? Do you confront the coaching staff privately? Do you take it to the media? Do you just put your head down, finish out the contract, and leave at the first opportunity? Because right now, the relationship looks broken. And I don't see how it gets fixed when the coach won't even use a challenge to protect you from phantom fouls. That's not a basketball problem. That's a trust problem. And once trust is gone in a player-coach relationship, it's almost impossible to get it back. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Stephanie White is just a bad coach, or is there something deeper going on here? And if you're a Fever fan, how much longer are you willing to watch this before you demand changes? Let me know what you think.